cycling as a mode of transport is sustainable, right? So if you replace a car with a bike, you're not having the CO2 emissions, good way for society. But road cycling and mountain biking is not that sustainable at all, because you buy a lot of parts, bikes, apparel to do a sport. You might even fly somewhere to go cycling for a weekend. There's nothing sustainable about this. And our frustration was that we were spending a serious amount of our disposable income on bikes and parts, and there was no way to do this in a sustainable way. And that's how we came up with the idea of circular cycling, to start experimenting how the cycling industry could do better. You need about 1600 kilowatt hours of electricity to produce a 1 kilogram aluminium frame. And the average household in the Netherlands uses about 3000 kilowatt hours of electricity per year for their lights, their TV, their fridges, etc. So half of that is required to make a 1 kilogram aluminium frame.
Half of that, so 1600.
1600.
100, yeah. 1600 kilowatts.
Just for 1 kilogram of aluminium frame. And we often forget that stuff is made somewhere and requires a whole lot of energy to produce it. And it's so easy to buy it, and also so easy to just throw it away because, you know, it's just aluminium. But when it comes to sustainability, the supply chain, so the way products are made, transported, stuff, is where the real impact lies. Then there is your employees. I think a lot of people really like to work for a company that does something good for the planet, and just building bicycles is no longer enough. And then there's your customers, which realize that something needs to be done as well, and they will want to spend their money different in the future if they get the opportunity to do so. That's similar to the outdoor industry. If you walk into a outdoor shop to buy a new jacket, if you go, I don't know, hiking, for example, every single brand has got some sort of labeling on it showing that they do better than their previous product or better than the competition. So you can spend your money differently. And that is not possible in the cycling industry at the moment. It's just a matter of time before the first brands will start to do so. And if you're not one of them, you're probably going to lose business. What happens if you throw your bike away? Hopefully you bring it to the local recycling station. And then you stand there and you think, okay, I've got this carbon fiber bike with some aluminium and some steel on it. Where should it go? And then the guy at the recycling station says, put it in the metals bin. So you do so. But then no one's going to separate these materials, right? So it needs to be the process, assuming that there is a process for recycling, to do that for you. And they have to be able to separate all the plastics and the metals from the carbon fiber in order to get to a recycling stream that is valuable, worthwhile actually recycling. And this is really tough. There are no machines that are able to separate a carbon fiber rim, a brass nipple, a steel spoke, an aluminum hub with steel bearings in there. Separating that is more or less impossible. So even if you think you put it in the right bin for recycling, a lot of that stuff still ends up in an incinerator or landfill because it doesn't make it to the end of the recycling process. People want to own something, especially with a road bike. You need it to be exactly your fit, and it's no point in sharing it with someone else. It needs to be your bike. It also sort of the canvas for your ego. You want your paint job, you want big letters or small letters on top of it, I don't know. So you want to buy that, but you don't want to be responsible for the boring stuff, the drivetrain, the wheel set, because it's more or less standard. You just want it to work. And currently the manufacturers don't have an incentive to make sure that that will last forever. It's the other way around. As soon as your chain wears, you need to replace your cassette as well. Top, it's business, selling more stuff. Once you change that around, because you don't want more materials, you want less materials because it's less environmental impact. So if you could buy your platform, so handlebar, stem, frame set, seat post and seat, that provides the fit, and then get the rest of all the components in a pay for performance basis. So you pay for a monthly basis or per kilometer for the use of your powertrain, the wheel set and the group set. Also pay for a computer, I'll get to that later. And then you've got the consumables, so your tires, your cleats, your handlebar tape, stuff that needs to be replaced quite often. That should be bio-based, ideally, biodegradable. So if stuff that wears off ends up in nature, it doesn't harm nature. So they came up with this climate commitment, which is an open letter to the industry saying guys, we are not perfect, we need to change this, but it only works if we work together. So how about we commit to calculating our own carbon footprint, making a reduction plan in line with the goals of 55% reduction in 2030, and invite our top 10 suppliers or customers to do so as well. We launched that last year in November with some of the major brands in the industry. And we're up to about 70, 75 signatories at the moment, so other companies that joined afterwards. And my personal mission for this year is to get 222 companies to sign up in 2022. And together really spread this message and getting the conversation started at board level in all of these companies and with suppliers, which is super important to get going.